Hey guys!
Hey!
Hi! And we are live. Oh, look at that.
Hey.
Background that Brendan created there.
Welcome to Behind the MasterMinds episode. We are at episode 20, and it's a big one.
Woo-hoo.
We have Streamline Design and we have BlueMatter Games again.
Yeah, we definitely have a great show today planned for everyone.
Yeah.
But before we do that, we are going to announce a raffle winner for episode 18 with the show with Puzzling Package.
Yeah, before you do that, can you guys hear us okay? Just want to make sure there's
Yeah,
a connection.
great.
All right, here we go.
All right, the winner for their game called Sins of the Father.
It is? Come on, big one.
Ooh, it's Rita Orlov.
Rita Orlov. Congratulations, Rita.
Rita.
Nice. Father, yeah, that's oh my god, you can see you gotta check out our episode. The case that comes in is amazing.
That's a
the box is
beautiful
crazy.
case for sure. Okay, so everyone, during the interview, feel free to type in any questions or comments you have for them, and we'll try to get through them as many as possible because we have 3 people on the show today, so I don't really know how much talking we're gonna even get in at this point.
Hey, the platform is all yours.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thanks for having us. It's exciting to be here.
Yeah.
That's what you guys do.
For sure. Okay, so we have pretty long bio to read over here. Let me get that over with first.
Let's make the intro. Here we go.
You want to do this?
I'll try. It's a long one. Well, let's start with David. So David Yakos is an inventor, designer, artist, and engineer. As co-owner of Salient Technologies, he is named on dozens of patents and has designed hundreds of products from Prototype of the Year by Popular Science to cryogenic control valves for NASA's spacecraft. Wow.
Nerds.
Take a bullet. Wow. Okay. As someone who also loves creating fun, he licenses out toys and game ideas out of his invention house, Streamline Design LLC.
Yeah.
Inventor of toys and games that have been nominated 4 times for Toy of the Year. He was named 2016 Toy Innovator of the Year, a global recognition. He is currently nominated for Toy Innovator of the Year again for 2020 with Circuit Explorer from Educational Insights. Some toys and games he's known for include Break-In, Circuit Maze, Thinking Putty Puzzle, Dunk Hat, Megatrax, Circuit Explorer, Long Cow, Icons, Maker Studio, and more. I can make a song out of this, by the way. So. And second but not least, we have Rebecca and Nick back on our show. They are no strangers to us. They are the designer that we spoke of on episode 15 on our show, and they're creators of Cursed Dollhouse with many other games. By the way, the Cursed Dollhouse would be perfect for Halloween coming up. And you still have a chance of using that 25% discount code that we released on our previous show for 25% off. You're going to enter 25 Kravata and Amazon until November 11th of this year.
November 1st.
Oh, sorry, November 1st.
He's going to give the other 25% if people want to use out until November 1st.
Yeah, the code is try your luck.
Brendan's all right.
But also, there's another code.
Well, on today's show, though, we will be speaking to them about In Alcatraz, which is a game that they co-designed, and the artwork is from DC Comics artist, right, by Steve Downers.
Amazing.
Manufactured by PlayMonster. So this game is also up for Taggy. Did I pronounce that right? Taggy Art.
Yeah, it's Art and Design of the Year.
Art and Design of the Year in 2020. How exciting!
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and also this game is also on Amazon, and we have a code for you guys as well for 20% off until October 31st. 20 break-in.
Yeah, so enter 20 break-in when you're checking out, and you'll be able to experience that game like we did.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to get into the show now because there's like way too many
I think we talked enough of the whole show just from the intro.
That's a wrap.
All right, so now this concept is very unique to us. Tell us about the thought process behind this design. Normally, we're trying to get out of an escape room. Why will we put ourselves in the trouble of breaking in?
Well, I think that comes into you can't really fit inside of a cardboard box that you can sell at Target or Walmart, right?
Yeah.
The whole idea of this initially started with wanting to have that multiple layers, kind of like the peeling of an onion, where you get to go in and have multiple acts and an entire set design for a story arc, and that's where it gives you a little bit of mystery, so you don't actually know what's on the inside. And we've worked pretty hard of not revealing like the final chapters of this thing online. It's interesting not letting people know what's all the way in there without like marketing it but not giving stuff away. But the whole idea of like peeling back those layers as you're diving deeper and deeper into the story in a way that's I guess we're trying to create a first-person view of a break-in where you're
as we're talking, I mean, you've already shown this on your unboxings and some of your videos, so I'm just gonna reveal what just like in terms of what peel means. Like you're literally like peeling away.
Yeah, you're literally breaking down walls to like
to get the layer. Like that whole idea was creating the set to where you're Indiana Jones, you're Tomb Raider, you're going through and kind of getting off the 2D, away from just the deck of cards, something that's a little bit more set driven. And Nicholas and Rebecca, I guess it was I think a great canvas with you guys working on story and applying story to these sets.
Yes.
Well, I would say that the break-in idea actually came during the first one we designed, which is the second one coming out. It's a break-in Area 51. Mm-hmm. And the idea was, well, who knows what's in Area 51, so the excitement is actually breaking into Area 51, and that's where the line really took its shape.
Right.
Yeah, that's coming out. We're
Look at that!
Yeah, we're just getting our samples this coming week, but that was what brought forward the idea. And then with Alcatraz, when we thought of breaking into Alcatraz, which actually is far more interesting than breaking out of Alcatraz. Different problems you're trying to solve.
Well, you break in and then you break in.
Right, break. No spoilers.
Yeah,
I mean spoilers. Unspoilers, we do. We are historically accurate to spoilers, really.
And that was part of the fun was we actually Rebecca and I actually made a trip to Alcatraz, which I'm glad we did because the movies and stuff don't quite show what it's physically like. Some of the stuff is insane what actually happened in some of those breakouts. But I think we took about 400 photos, so the artist had access to them, and it allowed us to place things in physical space. So
where does Chichen Itza fit into all this? Like, is that the third one, or like where?
Yeah, the third one.
The third one.
And that'll be right on the heels of.
That's my 10th question.
I'm sorry. I always
with Nicholas and Rebecca, and I had visited it previously as well, and in the diving into the research, and Rebecca is so good at diving into research and helping with that, of trying to create something that is historically accurate. And if you were to watch an episode of like Unsolved Mysteries, of like, how did these guys break out? Like, you would have no idea. But we proposed like an actual plausible solution, which could be the truth as far as we know, of like fitting into the real details, the events, what type of things happened. Even the box setting, we tried to use like the actual cell numbers and dates and character names and the location north, south, east, west of what really takes place. It's almost like a hidden history lesson.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I think that you were giving these inmates some ideas on how they can get out of there.
I don't think they're as sloppy now as they are then. Like some of the reasons why they got out is pretty crazy.
Well, I think that one of the key reasons was that they used salt water for the toilets, and the salt just eroded the concrete. So the guys who finally broke out, it was because the concrete had been rotting for 20 years. They shut the prison down a year later.
Oh, wow.
So, because it was falling apart.
Yeah.
So when you have like so many people involved in the design of a game, how do you guys normally do this? Especially when there's so many elements of puzzles you have to envision to put together with the art, the story, and finally the actual construction of the game pieces. Do you do this over Zoom calls, and do you actually get together? How does this work?
Oh gosh, it's a perfect storm.
I can't imagine.
All of that.
We kind of take multiple roles, and so each of us takes drives a point. Like Rebecca drives research and a lot of the art direction. David does the mechanicals. I drive the story, and we all work on puzzles and whatnot. But we inspire each other. So, like we'll say to David, well, we want the box to do this, And then, it would be really cool. He's like, oh, I don't, and then he comes back and does it. And
He's
the same
like,
with
I've
the
been
story.
obsessing for weeks on
Yeah,
this.
and he'll say, wouldn't it be cool if we could like actually break through a wall or something? I want a great puzzle. I'm like, I don't know if we can do that, but we inspire each other and then actually work with it. So one of us takes lead, and the others are the muses, and then we all come together to make sure it flows and it's as good as it can be.
Yeah, a lot of Zoom calls. We actually won box number 4, which we can't quite spoil what it's going to be yet, but we actually put lawn chairs in a creek in Montana this summer, and we worked through the story while in the creek together. But like the physicality of the testing, typically what we're doing is we're printing out the story cards without art, and we got pencil sketches or light art on boxes that we'll print and actually run through the laser cutter, and so we'll fold up the 3D structures and work our way through the actual set, because sometimes you get the puzzle and the story, and it sounds good as if it was just a card, but then all of a sudden once you have a set and you're playing that, you're like, oh, we can change that just a little bit. So that's where that back and forth and the physicality of playtesting was so important when it comes to getting your hands actually on the laser cut pieces or the 3D printed parts. Every game comes with a 3D, like an actual plastic puzzle, and you guys got to do one of those for Alcatraz, and so we had to 3D print those things and test them and make sure it wasn't too hard or too easy.
Then you got to fit them in the box where they don't get loose and destroy the entire inside of the game.
Yeah.
Shipping.
Does everyone have a 3D printer at home these days?
It sounds mandatory now.
It's like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But we're still working with a lot of paper and cardboard.
Right.
It's a costing issue. You can just do so much with paper, and it doesn't cost as much.
Right. I think in the long run, you might actually save money with the 3D printer, and that as opposed to like the way that.
But they can also
manually.
like correct things more quickly, like when they visualize it.
Yeah.
And it's
For prototyping, but eventually, PlayMonster is a high volume game. This game goes in Walmart and Target, so they're going to make molds. It was actually cheaper for them to make the plastic that holds the box together, whereas other companies would have used tape, because that would have been cheaper for them.
It's a lot.
Plastic.
It's a lot of components and box and set and story and hours of play for the value they've put on that on the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can tell.
Especially now there's a 20% discount, even if
For limited time only, 20% discount.
Very good enough.
The next question is, you have hundreds of places that you could have picked for the story set. Why Alcatraz? And much real content versus fictional. Did you
Like
use?
how much more?
Yeah, how much did real content versus fictional did you use from the first successful escape from Alcatraz?
I know we touched a little bit about it.
Go.
Well, I would say with these, because Alcatraz was our second. Actually, Yakos, I don't know how they ended up picking Alcatraz, but it was a pivotal moment in our designing, because all of a sudden we had this historic event that actually we're like, wait a minute, we can base this. We're about 95% accurate.
No, we're about 99.9.
So it was really
one thing we
neat,
fudged.
and on some of the, like on Chichen Itza, how accurate we are to the historical artifacts and that sort of thing. So it kind of that area.
Well, Area 51 is completely true as well.
Wow. 100% accurate.
And so, with Alcatraz, it was that moment where we're just like, wait a minute, this research is really cool. We can't just make something up about Alcatraz. Why not take the real deal?
And actually, for us, that works really well. We, when we come up with a game, we think of the sandbox, and we're playing in the sandbox. And when the sandbox is infinite, it can be hard for us to rein in the ideas. But as soon as we're stuck with the 13th real escape, these are our people, these are the events that happen. And now we're stuck inside, and that's where the ideas go up rather than out. The depth and just the elegance of rise from that.
Yeah, David, talk about letting your work consume you.
Soon it won't just be the hands.
Oh my gosh. You really do become these stories, like going to bed and you're like imagining, first person, like if you were in that character, as to how much I'm very visual. I love the idea of a lot of those fun escape movies, the heist movies, and trying to get yourself in that become that person. It's hard to package that and get that in the box. You really got to kind of let that creativity fly to where you're not embarrassed about the crazy ideas. And but as far as historically accurate, the sandbox, as Nick mentioned, was perfect for Alcatraz. Area 51, it's plausible as far as we know.
It's the real truth, David.
There is a lot in that game. There's a lot in that game that comes out of some research, and perhaps connections in the third one, the Chichen Itza, architecturally accurate in the sense of bringing to life and honoring the culture. And there's going to be, I'm excited for everybody to get to dive into these stories, and then the other ones to come. It's we've been looking at real life places that love to hear from people. What are ones that you would love to see out there as we're moving
and some
forward?
I'm pretty sure there's
comments are showing.
Yeah, Bob Lazar. I did watch Bob Lazar's story for Area 51. Absolutely. And there's a fun, you can really get sucked into the cult classics and the followings of all these topics. That they're great fodder for imaginative development, especially some of these things like Ancient Aliens, like some of the really fun off the wall shows that even talk about Chichen Itza or different areas. I think all of that.
There's a long list of requests that you would receive from places that they would love to see you guys make a game of breaking into.
Okay.
Yeah, part of the challenge is now that we're having to deal with international. Well, it's a nice problem, but international is they want things that are recognized worldwide. So that's pushing our bounds out. What do we look at next? What are events or what are structures? We have the world to work with.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone, the listeners out there, if you have any suggestions or any place you want to break into, please let them know.
Drop a line.
Yeah. Michelle actually is a creator out there. She has her own Kickstarter too that's coming out, the Fairy Tale Files, and she's also one of them that does a lot of research for her game.
Yeah.
So definitely have to check that out.
There's a lot of work and research in there.
It's a lot of fun to just let it take over. Rebecca and I will actually pick an icon for a game, and then we'll put that picture all up around our house. We've even had bed comforters made so we can sleep in it. So we have the image with us just all over the place.
So much of the crazy.
Yeah.
It's research. It's research.
Now there's a lot of nuggets and little details that we hide in the game as well, like movie tropes and little pieces. Sometimes some art on the wall. You'll find different things in some of the games that have really nothing to do with the clues, but it's just kind of in the background. Especially with Steve Downer, our friend and artist on this, that has a passion for incorporating like little Easter eggs.
Aww.
And you'll see when Area 51 hits, there's a lot of references to some of our favorite cult classic alien movies out there that are kind of hidden throughout, sprinkled a little bit of flavor throughout the game.
We follow the truth, David. We didn't have to make up a thing. The research is the truth.
All right. So our next question is, I feel like this is for the creators out there, but how do you pick your manufacturers that best suit your game? For instance, like PlayMonster over ThinkFun or any other manufacturer out there, but is it something that is particular to a game design, and then you pick that company, or?
Yeah, do you have a choice, or?
We do have a choice, and so both of us, Nicholas, Rebecca, and I, all three of us, we license out a lot of concepts, and we pitch, and we have good relationships with a lot of the companies. You mentioned ThinkFun. Both of us have got a number of titles with them as well. And when we pitch something, really we want to find a company that is truly excited about the brand. They want to get behind it in a way that they're as excited about it as we are. Let's put it that way. And ones that we believe can pierce the market, and it's not just going to be maybe white noise in their line, or it's just going to be a part of something else. When it came to break-ins, we we really loved the vision PlayMonster had behind it. Their ability to reach out in games and toys. This is somewhat of a bigger toyetic box than a lot of just card games, and so that weighed into the decision, and the fact that they helped put a team together that believed in it, and I was excited to pick PlayMonster, and then they picked us. It's sort of like a courtship and dating and marriage.
Nice. We got some suggestions.
Yeah,
for
keep
you.
them coming in, guys. So they said Heart Research Facility in Alaska would be a really cool one, and then Yashin said the Castle Nord in France. So this is a really good suggestion.
Yeah, we're coming.
Just make sure you get it, guys.
I will not. I like that. France, though.
Yeah.
Nice.
Then we have to visit.
Yeah. Research.
Yeah.
We're like, oh.
Yeah,
research.
pick something like Tahiti because we've got to go research it to make sure we can.
Maybe Bali, somewhere in
Yeah.
Bali.
Yeah, like a sunken treasure under the ocean
Or
of
another-
Polynesia.
Exactly.
Well,
Or another haunted one. They always have those creepy temples out there.
Yeah.
Bora Bora haunted, I think.
Bora Bora haunted.
All right, so our next question for you is, what was the most difficult thing that you encountered when designing this game? And was it getting the little game props or the design element or the puzzles?
Was it the brick puzzle?
No.
To wrap your mind around?
Oh, well, that was tricky. Yeah, so David early on said, I want to breaking through a Van brick puzzle. And I said to him, look, we've got 2 hours in the game. You can't break through a brick wall in 2 hours. If you could, the prisoners would all do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'd really like that puzzle. And it took over a month. And then eventually the story all came together where it's like, oh, this is how that works. And so the brick puzzle actually came into being as he wanted. That's an example of me sticking with it. It's like, okay, you really want that in the game? What do we have to do to make it work? But we do stick and say, what does it do to make it work? It's got to work. We just don't chuck it in.
And I have to say the communication.
Yeah.
We've working, this is our first collaboration with another game designer. And we certainly have had a dynamic for many, many years, but it was so nice that David, Nick, and I had such a seamless way or we've come to that. It was interesting learning, learning. There were long conversations.
Well, like David and I just had a conversation 2 days ago, and we started it off with, what we have right now is really good. We're trying to make it better. Now let's tear it apart and not take it personally. And it's a powerful place to work.
Mm-hmm.
We just acknowledge our strengths and acknowledge, let's go for that.
And mutual respect.
Yeah.
Complete
Aww.
Yeah.
We love
So one of
you.
We got some more suggestions. Michelle said the catacombs. Ooh, that's a good one too.
Which
One of the things that was difficult when it comes to just the overall development compared to a lot of the escape style games, there's a lot of games that and I really appreciate Nicholas and Rebecca and their ability to fight for this, is all of the puzzles, the idea was to have them plausible. Like, why would you be solving that? It's not like you're going to walk into a room and there's suddenly a crossword on the wall. Like, well, let's solve this crossword, and that way that key will pop out, and then I can escape. So that doesn't fit the story, and making sure that the puzzles were really good puzzles that then actually plausibly fit the story in some sort of why would you actually have to do that? And so trying to keep, because it is a story game, you go through and you're reading the content, you get attached to the characters in a way. You want to see what happens to them, good or bad, and linking that to puzzles, it has its challenges, but it was something we really fought. And Nicholas, thank you again for as much as you, because our mental sparring, so to speak, of why not, or why this? What about this? That's how we're able to, I think, to
come together.
Yeah, I think the best of both worlds and combining to agree on something is probably the most challenging thing. But once you have it, then it's
well, it comes from trust. Is that each one of us becomes the champion for an aspect of the game.
Yeah.
And the others respect and go up against the champion, but respect the champion's protecting something. So each one of us protects some integrity. Rebecca protects a lot of she wants the research to be accurate. It's like, if we can do it the way it's real or make up something, let's do it real. And it takes extra time to do that. It might take 15 hours to figure out how to work something in by the time we're done.
Yeah, one puzzle we had to redo.
Yeah.
The recent one that we were working on, and he was just so mad because I was like, wait, we're 10 years off. We can't have that.
But it's that idea that we trust each other, that if David holds the line on something, we're like, okay, we're holding the line for a reason, let's make it work.
Yeah, I think in the teamwork, you definitely need to pull down that ego there for sure, and then also just like kind of work with each other and be able to accept the different like comments back and forth.
Well, I think the overall goal is to put out the best product possible. So I think once you have that vision and you kind of set it towards that, I think it's really about that in the end.
Yeah. Oh, but like Dean said that you can't do the sunken treasure in Indonesia because it's one of his games.
It's one of his games.
A little late, but next.
And this is worth pointing out too, is that we've established that we let go of ego during the course of the game. So we would say we worked on the game, but it's going to be tricky to point to any particular part and say, for me to say that's mine.
Yeah.
We don't do that because that's not what it is. We all participated. We all made it what it is, and we let go of that. Well, I did this, and I'm so important. It's
however, those box mechanics.
Oh, he's very good.
Yeah.
He surprises us. We kind of do it sometimes. We're like, we wanted to do this, Dave, and he's like,
All right, guys. So we're gonna give you a chance to win a copy of this amazing game, In Alcatraz, by typing in "Let me break in."
The raffle prize is Breaking Alcatraz, and you need to type in this secret phrase.
Let me break in.
Let me break in to enter into this raffle.
Yeah, and feel free to type that in any messenger over Facebook or IGTV, because we're going to have a posted edited version of this interview for anyone who couldn't make and see the show today. And then you can enter this before the drawing on episode 22 of our show. So.
Yeah.
So for this game, I mean, was the story written first or the puzzles? Or did you follow your break-in process of starting from inside and then went out?
The story was history. So once we realized there was something, Alcatraz was picked first, and then once we realized there was actually a breakout that we could actually jump into, the story was actually written for us.
Well, we had to follow it. Those were the rails, so to speak. But then, which parts do we keep? Which don't? Yeah. But the story really was, we knew who our characters were, and we knew what we had to. We knew where we had to go.
Yeah, from a developmental, like if you're to break that down into like a flow chart, the engineer part of me coming out. But those are like they like to know the process. Like we would we kind of broke these into 4 acts, if you will. Like, you know, there's like 4 chapters working through, and so we'd create that story along with the setting. Like, okay, if we're going. If we're starting on the outside of, let's say, Alcatraz Island, where are we going in there next? And then where does that go? And then where does that go? Yeah. And so having a little bit of that story plotted out, and then having part of the set made, that, and then starting to work with the puzzles, that's then going to inform the story. It all kind of informs each other. Like that, as Nicholas was saying, like letting go of that ego and bouncing stuff back and forth off each other. And then when Steve Downer, our artist, got into play, he started drawing stuff, and we're like, oh, that image would really help inform the story or the puzzle or the set. Like it, I guess that's one wonderful thing about, I guess, trusting your partners on this, knowing that they're gonna fight for the best they can come up with.
Yeah.
I'd say the hardest part is balancing and scaling. Is that we need to get people into the box at a certain speed, but we need them to understand how the dynamics work, and how many puzzles do you put at each layer? How do you use the real estate that's in the box? How do you keep it in a reasonable time frame? How do you keep things interesting? How do you keep the story moving? There's a lot to balance. It can get hard to hold that though.
Yeah, these are crazy dense projects.
Yeah, I mean, like I like your the part. the hint cards that are in there, we really liked it because it was kind of like a flow. It kept the game afloat. So like if you ever do get stuck or something, like right away you can use the decoder. You don't have to go to like a website or something. Like it's all in front of you, so you can just keep going, and then the speed like doesn't slow down.
Yeah, I like the decoder that you guys implemented. It was really cool to have that in there.
Yeah. Here's a question. For the creators, like just wondering, how do you guys keep notes like these days? Do you have a huge whiteboard, or are you still old school and have a notebook that you write stuff on, and then you don't recognize your own writing afterwards? Like, is my handwriting?
I will show you.
Oh, we can't show their name right now. Well, okay. So our secret is we went to IKEA, and they have these
goo-goos in the goo-goo section.
Yeah, they have these
you can flip it around. Yeah.
I feel like you have like a whole like.
There's a bin rack. We have hundreds of.
I thought it was like maybe a whole like
They're like
wall.
goo-goo racks. Yeah, we have a whole wall of them.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So if we could take you out to the studio, you'd be like, my goodness, there's a lot of little white bins.
And that helps us organize it, but
And then when a project is real, like when we're in the thick of it, we'll actually move some of the bin sections into our dining room, where it's just like in our face all the time, so that we can pull it out at all times when we have ideas.
And then I have a master document that I think for Alcatraz hit 37 pages at its longest, where we, as ideas work their way in, and there's descriptions of what the art needs to be. And so it's a huge document that we're all working with. And then we start handing some over to the artist, and then we start making the cards, and then that document disappears. It turns into the game. But
cards.
There's a lot of notes.
Oh, David.
It's kind of a creative process. So I've got an engineering company where we've got the lab downstairs. We've got a staff of 10 designers here that we develop products for other brands. And so if I was to turn my camera, you'd just see like explosion of whiteboards and piles of pieces, and like I'll buy things on go buy something on the store just to gut it and get one little part out of it because I needed one.
Yeah.
Sometimes one gear. So you gutting stuffed animals to get a button, whatever it is. Like there's definitely
You got the stuffed animals. Oh.
Because my desk is covered right now.
What's happening?
We used to go to the before we figured out how to make boards, we would go and find old Trivial Pursuits.
Yeah, they were the perfect
and then
size.
put our paper on top of an old Trivial Pursuit
back
board.
in the old days.
Those were the old days.
Before we had a laser cutter.
Nice.
Oh, probably best investment ever.
Yeah.
That laser cutter.
Laser cutter?
Yeah.
Laser cutters are cool.
Yeah, because the only reason I asked is because I recently was playing, one of those role-playing games, and then they had they now have programs out there that is like a whiteboard, and then you do a lot of stuff like on the computer, but I just feel like it's not the same.
I'm too tactile. Like there's, I grew up with Lego and Play-Doh, and popsicle sticks and hot glue, and my neural connections. Like if I do this with my hands, like that's where the creativity flows out. It's like I have to be physically doing it, writing it with colored markers and
well, because you won't get the reaction of what something does unless you.
It's more visceral.
Well, and like for instance, with Area 51, which was the first one we worked on, we were floundering a little bit, wrapping our minds around it, and so David sent us a box mock-up, and we literally sat with index cards and kind of had to place some in each flap that folded down just to kind of get a sense of the space in our heads.
But working with the physical was great because there are some times where you can look at the top and you see a top view, but then you can take the side to see different information.
Right.
And it's playing in the physical space, and then we have physical puzzles where you really got to sit down and touch it to experience it. So.
Yeah, we need to put it on an elevated table so that we can turn it and like look at the sides and then stand up and then
little cake turntable or something.
Right.
With the people that are watching, why are you not doing this?
Yeah, they're like, I want to know, like I want it.
Well, this question, I guess at least the next question though, there was one puzzle in there that involved the right path to escape out of pipes, right? So did any of that design from the NASA's cryogenic control valves play into this puzzle? Was it easier to design that, or was it easier to design the valves for NASA?
No. So Nicholas and Rebecca, were the drivers. They developed that puzzle, and I think some of the symbols we used in there were like actual, like we tried to use a little bit of Valve symbols, but no, there's no deep NASA.
Well, they don't break when you climb down them, so.
No.
So we were just talking about the solution checkbox and just like how did that concept come about in terms of different from the wheel one?
Right.
Well, we wanted something where we could verify that the answer. It's one of the key parts that we believe in escape room design is it when you solve a puzzle. We believe that players should have confidence that they solved the puzzle correctly. You should know you got it right. Mm-hmm. And so we want a verification system, but what's nice about the solution sticks, it also lets us give a hint system as well. But when you get the wrong answer, it tells you where the hints are.
Okay.
So you can get your way out of the problem. That's the other thing that we believe is important is you should always know what you're doing.
Right.
You should never be lost in the game. Like, what do I do next?
Yeah. Did David finish what he was saying? I'm sorry.
Oh, I can share a little bit more about that, but part of what we wanted to do as we were diving through that is with those help cards you mentioned earlier, they do have the red filter, and the whole idea with those help cards is, I know a lot of escape rooms you get penalized, like if you take a hint, we wanted this to be more of like I'm going to sit down, I'm going to enjoy the story, we're going to, for those that are competitive players that aren't going to look at it, good luck. But as far as creating that experience where you can get just as enough help as you need and still have the element of solving the puzzle. And so sometimes like the hints are just a little bit to make sure you're looking in the right direction and you're looking for that symbol, the number, and the color. And with those solution sticks, part of the solution sticks are like little sticks that have got symbols, lines of colors, and you're dropping them down slots on top of the box that are then showing up in a little window in whatever. You drop them down to a certain color, whatever symbol shows up in the window, that's the next card to read.
Yeah, it's very creative concept the way to
Well, part of the hardest problem here is getting people to accept what you were saying, which is play the game at your own pace. There's a bias that if you take a hint, you're dumb or you failed it, and they don't realize that.
Play at your own level.
Play at your own level. Most professional puzzlers look at hints all the time, right?
David's giving us an answer right now. He's
We have a funny story.
Spoilers, this is off of Chichen Itza, so it's going to give me the wrong answer.
Yeah, so we have a funny story when we were playing this, right? We were like inserting the clue to check the first answer, and then somehow, Brandon's like, oh, I dropped it. Like he dropped it. And then I was like, oh no, we're never getting in.
No, I was like, now we'll have to break in.
Just little force, because like I don't really know if that clue stick was going to be used for another.
Thank God it wasn't. The clue stick wasn't until later.
It wasn't until later that we needed it again. But I'm like, damn it, why would you do that? Initially, I was like, are we able to just like open this? I wasn't sure yet because we just started the game.
We tried to protect you from doing that, so how the cards are, like they don't, you got to take some effort to get it in there, so you must have did
I don't know. Oh, so we have a question from Jaja, and he wants to know, what's your favorite games that you use as inspiration?
Oh, favorite games for inspiration?
It'll be a while, but if you could.
I don't know if it's necessarily the games, as far as some of the life experience for inspiration when it comes to escape rooms, that in general, of that whole experience. I love adventure movies, that whole idea.
But what about you dress up? Remember that? What is it?
Like Mysterium?
Yes, you have a Mysterium party.
Mysterium is one of my favorite games, and the other day we, I think there's 10, 12 characters in the game, and I sent out the roll cards to all of my friends that were coming. And this was pre-COVID vacation when we used to be able to hang out. And everybody dressed up, came in character as their Mysterium character. And then we went through and you play the game as your character. And there's stuff like that I find fun. You don't have to be completely nerdy about it. Yeah. I'm not embarrassed about it.
I'd say that it's not a game. I like watching movies. And part of what we've pitched this as is it's a movie in a box.
Oh, Nick is totally addicted to logic puzzles too. Let's just out you on that.
But we wanted to have a story that you're actually part of. If you're breaking in, you're actually in the story as well. So
I don't know the Alcatraz breakout movie with Clint Eastwood. That's like a classic, but we were like, oh, that's it was kind of
yeah.
One of my other favorite from, I think it was maybe mid 90s, early 90s, just to date my favorite games, was back the murder mysteries, like when they were in their peak. And you out and you get together, and it's like it was a one-time play sort of box. I love exit games, the escape games. I'm a huge fan of a lot of the ones that Nicholas and Rebecca have done, like the MacGyver and whatnot. Great escape games, but we wanted, I think on this one, we bring a lot more of the story, like kind of like the murder mysteries, in the sense of like there's a whole story arc that you kind of get more immersed in than just puzzles.
Yeah, so I mean, from a break-in series perspective, I know you have the 2 games that are coming out, and then it has that similar, idea and structural with you have to like break into this mysterious temple or highly guarded government facility. Would this be a series that will continue into other locations? Is this just the beginning, or? Yes.
Number 4 is number 4 is done. We're finalizing
number 4.
Can't tell you what it is yet.
Yeah, we haven't been allowed.
How frequent are you going to put these out?
Well, they actually were supposed to be out. The first 3 were supposed to be out, but COVID really threw things off.
A lot of countries shut down and whatnot for a bit, and things were a little bit slow, but now things are back up and rolling. Area 51 could be, you'll be able to get your hands on that hopefully here within the next couple of months, and then come spring, you should be seeing talk of, we don't have official dates, but of the next 2. And then I believe that
Area 51 is before the end of the year. I believe they're already on a bump. And then Chichen Itza follows, and then the number 4. And we've got the ideas for number 5. We're just trying to get approval.
Wow. Oh my God. You're so fast.
Well, this has been a couple of years of work. It seems like it.
Yeah.
But, there are thousands of hours that go into one of these. It's amazing how many details. And our goal behind this is, honestly, like, I love having people over to my house. And Nicholas and Rebecca, they're such gifted hostesses. We're creating an environment where you, like, all right, guys, here's the game, and you want everybody to have like the best of times. And our blood, sweat, and tears have gone into just trying to create a couple hours worth of family or friend time for people around the table, in a way that where we didn't get to be there, but at the same time we pour it in we're trying to make that experience, and our goal is to make these better and better as they go. Mm-hmm. And
are we going to expect anything else from this collaboration other than the break-in series?
Oh, keep looking. That was actually our story, is that for a couple of years we'd meet at industry events.
We're like, it's only a matter of time.
What are we going to work on together? And then we got the call from David on this one, saying they want more than I can make and need some help. I
can't do this without you.
I need a break.
We couldn't do it without him.
Couldn't do it without him.
Yeah. Well, now we've been to Montana. We visited David and his family, and now we're hooked. We've been looking. We're like, maybe Christmas again. It's not that.
He's like, that's the first I've heard.
I think it's -10 this weekend, so.
Oh yeah, you might want to wait.
I like driving there. Maybe it is only a summer trip.
You drive to us with the
We're only our summer friend. Michelle has a question. She wants to know what industry events do you recommend?
And that you like.
I'm going to make a quick plug for one coming up for anybody that's a game developer. To me, the best place on earth as a game inventor is ShyTag, and it's not a large industry-facing one, but what it is, it's the highest concentration of invention for the game scouts from the companies and inventors, and so that's pretty much who fills the room. This year it's digital. It's Pop, People of Play, ShyTag. To me, that was my into the industry when I first started, and suddenly that's where I met Nicholas and Rebecca. We became friends, and so on. So that's one I would check out if you want to become for those that aren't yet but want to become a professional inventor.
Well, actually, both is that there's two tracks. There's the beginner's track. So if you want to invent a game, and then there's the professional track. If you have published games, then you get to go on the professional side, and it's really nice because if you don't know what you're doing, you want to hear about contracts, you want to hear about what's going on, and once you've done it, it's on the panel anymore. We have panels that relate to professionals.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, okay, this is stuff.
Play each other's games and
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of. This is the only industry. So I've done trade show events in, from Valve World in Germany. It's like the most exciting place on earth. To housewares and whatnot. But the toy industry, toy and game, it's the only industry where you're done with all your meetings for the day. You're done with walking the floor, and you get together with your competitors, and which become your friends, and you're like, all right, let's get together and let's play games till 2 a.m.
I think that's why there's always room for collaboration, because there's just so much that you can do together and work on it.
I mean, that's why we also kind of love the community, especially people who just love to play puzzles and just create and invent things, because we see that, bond that can be formed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and it's fun too to get the influence of another person saying, "No, actually, I don't find that interesting. I want you to make it this." It's like, that's a lot of work. Well, then it'll be more interesting, and you're like, okay.
All right.
And then when it's done,
Difficult stuff to other people. I'm just gonna give the idea.
If you learn how to listen when you're pitching these things, I started keeping a journal of all of my pitches. So I'll sit down and I'll show maybe 10 concepts to a company over the course of an hour. It's like pass, send that in, pass, and you end up placing a few here and there. I had added up, I'm up to over 6,600 rejections, passes, and you start to listen to these things and figure out. You get really good feedback for what companies are looking for, and you can start to get your pulse on it a little. Your finger on the pulse of what industry wants and needs. If you can be open to the criticism, and
well, kudos to accepting 6,600 of them.
Yeah.
And still keep going.
I just view it as you didn't find the right home for that idea. Is what I'm saying. Nick gets on the whole rejection thing after a while. No, you've drank my punch. You drank my punch because I was like, we just haven't found our baby's home
we have
yet.
0 rejections. What we do is we just showed something that wasn't appropriate, and that's
it's not a fit this year. We've had companies that are like, no, 3 times, and then the very same game, I'll put some different art on it, show it to them again, and that year it happens to be right. And the very same company that said no 3 times. So.
Yeah.
You can't lose heart either. It's timing. It's all sorts of things. So I'd say anyone who's out there creating, just follow your heart on what you truly are passionate about, and that's not you can't go wrong with that. And if it's not understood in the market, keep on working on it to try to make it more accessible, but still try to hold on to that piece of your heart that's in it. Because if you're just trying to make a game, that's not going to be something that's spectacular. It's when you have your heart and soul in it is what makes it spectacular.
Right, and I think they can see that and feel it while they're playing. They know the passion is there. So one more time, just for our viewers. So if you haven't had a chance to play the Cursed Dollhouse, you can still purchase it in time for Halloween. The 25 Cravata, 25% off on Amazon, and also.
Well, that's Amazon. If Amazon can't ship on time.
That works on anything you buy on Amazon. No, I'm kidding.
And also, they're generously offering 20% off 20 Break-In for Break-In Alcatraz, also on Amazon. And then also, if you type in the secret phrase, you will automatically be
enter to win the prize of Alcatraz Break-In Alcatraz.
That's right. Here you go. All right. Oh, is it time?
It's time.
It's
all right, guys. So you have 3 people today. You're gonna crush this, right? You're gonna crush this Think a Drink segment because you have 3 people.
Yeah, we expect.
Yeah, but I forgot the name of the restaurant. I'm trying to remember the name of the restaurant. Don't ask that one.
We can't, because that might be an answer to one of the questions.
So,
hold on. So we're about to play.
Think or drink.
Think a drink. Yeah, there's a lot of screens going on. So
We're having Moscow mules with.
What are we going?
So,
We're having.
let's start with you guys, Nick and Rebecca, because we know you have a whole bar in your house. What are you guys drinking?
What do you guys? Okay, there we go. We're drinking Moscow Mule
Kettle One.
with grapefruit.
And it's Reed's.
Grapefruit! Oh my God.
The Reed's sugar.
Can I come over now?
Sugar free. So it has like natural sweeteners because we're trying to get rid of the COVID-19.
I hear ya. David, what are you drinking?
I've got a cup that's bigger on the inside, and it's full of espresso. I'm not an alcohol guy. I've already had 4 shots of espresso today, so I cannot get something wrong because I shan't be drinking this.
Is that a homemade? Is it an espresso, or what kind of espresso are you drinking?
I've got one of my friends has got a roasting company here in town, Ghost Town, and so I make espresso shots out of my local roaster, Ghost Town Coffee.
Good coffee when we were there.
Yeah. Oh my God. He's so ready. He's like, I'm so alert. I have 4 shots of espresso in my system.
Yeah. He's ready.
I'm just gonna drink my way out of this.
All right, so we are drinking Smirnoff Spike Sparkling Seltzer, and it is the Pina Colada flavor.
Ooh.
We'll see how this goes.
He's still thinking about island life.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be drinking that Moscow Mule and an espresso later to keep me up from drinking the Moscow Mule. so when we play, so the way we play Think and Drink is we ask our guests questions, and they have 10 seconds from after we ask to answer the questions. If they get it right, we're drinking. If they get it wrong, then they're going to be drinking.
Yeah.
All right, so let me get this countdown ready, and Cece's gonna
Okay,
start it
our
off.
first question is, what's the house number to the York Center location?
The York House? This is the restaurant. I said no restaurant.
142?
Oh!
430.
Well, are we taking all their answers?
Yeah,
All right.
they're all wrong anyway. It's 203.
203.
He's like, I'm hungry already. He's like, by the end.
Nothing like Dave.
It's so funny because we're both gonna have opposite reactions from what you're drinking.
David's foot is going like this under the desk.
You don't understand, I vibrate as it is.
Oh, God.
All right, and our viewers, if you can help them out, please type it in as well. You're their lifeline.
They never help.
Like to phone a friend.
The second question we have for you is, what is the tavern called?
That's something tavern. Red Tavern. Not the Green Dragon. This is the one. This is the name I forgot. I totally
I have a funny memory. I know it's kind of funny that I researched it. No, not a clue. The Rusty Tavern.
No. It's not.
No, it's not.
Well, we'll let each one of you give an answer. So we have a red and green dragon tavern, and then we have a rusty something. And,
Rewrite this.
It's like a lucky dog saloon or something.
ooh, they're all so off. It's the Billy Goat.
Billy Goat. Oh my gosh.
Guys, I'm getting thirsty here. I'm dehydrated.
Hey, just for the record, those two were
what
like,
I was going to forget. I knew you were
those two were like from the same section of the. It's almost like the same puzzle.
Wait, are you saying that was a BlueMatter puzzle?
You guys.
David, good thing we didn't name all the guards.
Yeah.
And the next question.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Get this one.
Question number 3.
All right. What year did Frank write that letter to you?
1962.
All right.
April 11th of some month.
I didn't
No,
ask.
June. Oh,
June 11th, 1962.
June 11th.
Yeah, 1962.
All right, that is the correct answer. It is 1962. Great job. All right, number 4. What's the last name of the 2 brothers, John and Clarence?
The England Brothers.
Oh, I didn't even get the press play. All right, great job, guys. Cheers.
Was it Frank Anglin and
John
Yeah.
Frank's
Nice.
the other guy. Frank. Now we can't remember
He's
his
the
name.
brains. Frank.
What's his last name? What's his last name?
Last name.
This stuff just flies out of your head.
I know.
All right, next question. Which location is furthest away to escape, and how many miles?
Oh, 2.5. Was it the island? Is it?
Angel Island.
That's like double question.
Oh, furthest.
Alright, so first of all, one of your answers is correct. We're not going to tell you which one. What is the other answer?
Okay.
2.5. I'm sticking with that.
Okay.
And it's not Ellis Island,
Dude.
I think
Angel
Angel
was in
Island.
mainland.
Wait, hold on. Let me give you a hint. Is a name of a casino in Vegas.
It was something neat.
Alright, it looks like we're both drinking because you got one right and one wrong. So 2.5 miles is correct, but the island is
Treasure Island.
Treasure Island.
Island. I'll drink some more. Once I start, I can't end up making me go.
He's like, I need to be this.
I think David is powering up. He's getting water with his answers from the espresso.
He's going for his bonus question.
Alright, so here's the bonus question. Now, we're going to ask you to say it backwards. We're not going to tell you what form of answer it is, but whatever it is, just say it backwards. Here we go. So what room is AZ1337 getting transferred to?
AZ142.
No, it's 034B.
There's no letter, but okay.
AZ take a drink.
You mean drink a take.
There is a letter.
It's just numbers.
Three numbers.
Oh,
430.
I was thinking the block. Okay.
The answer is 315, so we were looking for 513.
Keyword.
Give it up for our guests. Thank you for playing the Great Secret with us. Great job.
That is the problem. Now everybody needs to go take their afternoon nap.
Well, no, not David. There's no way David is napping now.
Go in my backyard and start doing jumping jacks soon.
Yeah.
All right, so we have some important announcements to make. Well, first of all, we do have episode 21 this Sunday with Chorus Productions.
Escaton production.
People behind
Really
Escaton.
So you guys should definitely tune in for that. And then also for Halloween, we're doing a event.
Whoa, hold on. Because our viewers are so important to us, and this is an exclusive announcement we haven't released yet. We're doing something very special for Halloween. You are going to want to tune into it. It's going to be on October 27th.
Which is a Tuesday, and it's also at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's going to feature escape rooms from all over the world. We're collecting video clips from them, and you can check out like all the escape rooms from like different continents, all the horror themed
Probably the
ones.
scariest rooms you've seen or heard about, or never actually seen but heard about. And you're gonna get an exclusive tour from the owner or from someone at the location to show you what's inside.
Nice.
So you're gonna want to check that out. But one more time, thank you so much for David, Nick, and Rebecca from Streamline and BlueMatter Games for sitting with us, and so that we can learn more about your games. And we look forward to the 4th and the 5th one and the 6th and the 7th. How many more you guys are putting out?
Alright, thank you guys for tuning in to watch this.
Thanks, guys.
See you
For me to choose, 2 hits left for me to use, 1 hit left for me to move. Time is running out, gotta figure something out. 3 hits left for me to choose, 2 hits left for me to use, 1 hit left for me to move. Time is running out, gotta figure something out.